Things got heated tonight as South Bend School Board members try to come up with a plan to fix Navarre Middle School. New at 10, the board approved a contract to implement a transformation zone for the school. It's received a failing grade from the state for 6 years. WSBT 22's Max Lewis is at the live desk. And Max, the board is at odds with the State Board of Education.
Yeah, they are, Todd. This is the plan that the school board says it has for Navarre, but a representative for the state says the school district has no plan. And after the meeting, things got intense. South Bend School Board member Leslie Wesley faced off with Indiana Board of Education Representative David Freitas all over the controversial plan to fix Navarre Middle School.
As far as I heard tonight, there still is no plan.
It's something of a he said, she said, with South Bend insisting it has a plan and Freitas saying it doesn't.
The notion that we had no plan is incorrect.
Several board members took issue with Freitas' comments to the South Bend Tribune, in which he said the school is not prepared for an approaching Wednesday plan submission.
But it's a bit of an affront to state that we seem completely unprepared.
But the meeting took a turn when Wesley called out Freitas by name, saying kids read the headlines too.
So I ask you to think about that. Think about it before you write or question or respond to the media.
All of it leading to this post-meeting confrontation.
Don't come to our meetings like that. That's ridiculous.
South Bend has until Wednesday to submit the plan. Freitas says if the district falls short, he and other board members are in favor of taking drastic measures.
We have options that allow us to close schools, merge schools, and those have sort of, through the process of being involved and turned around the state of Indiana, floated to the top of my list of remedies.
Now, both Wesley and Freitas had different accounts of what was said during that confrontation. The Indiana Board of Education will meet on March 6th to consider the school's transformative plan. At the live desk, I'm Max Lewis, WSBT 22 News.
Another local school system is nearly $18 million in debt, and it's reaching a crisis level. Benton Harbor school officials say a plan for dealing with the debt has to be made before next summer. The debt affects the ability to hire good teachers. Each year, the district sees at least a 5% drop in student enrollment, which also lowers the amount of funding it receives from the state.
You know, we're going to have to look for a way to truly fix the finances in the district and address the deficit so that we can, offer more competitive teacher pay and then begin to offer more or create more quality learning environments for our students.
The school board will meet with the Michigan Department of Treasury to come up with possible solutions on Thursday. We got new information tonight on the man found dead inside a car in South Bend this morning. Investigators telling us he was likely shot. The 22-year-old was found inside a car that was in an alley off West Washington Street. Police were called around 8:30 this morning for a welfare check, and that's when they found him. They aren't releasing his name until they notify his family. No one has been arrested, and an autopsy is planned for tomorrow morning. New at 10, this man will spend the next 16 years behind bars for murdering a St. Joseph County woman. A judge sentenced Daniel Lynn today for killing Christina Marie Woods. Her body was found buried in Minnesota last July on property belonging to Lynn's family. He was arrested days later in Michigan. Lynn admitted last month that he strangled her to death. An update in the shooting of an Indiana State trooper. We're told Matt Mikowski is improving and has been taken out of ICU. Investigators say Mikowski's 11-year-old son shot him inside their Granger home late Thursday night. The boy is being held in the Juvenile Justice Center on preliminary attempted murder charges. Police say the boy shot his father in the pelvic region. Several Goshen officers are being disciplined after an internal investigation into a traffic stop involving off-duty officers, alcohol, and a gun. Now, this all happened back in December. Goshen officer Brody Brown already pleaded guilty to drunk driving. That internal investigation showed Goshen Sergeant Kyle Kalb fired a gun from inside of Brody's truck. The Elkhart County prosecutor says she couldn't file charges because responding officers moved the truck to an empty lot and told the officers to get a ride home. The prosecutor says they should have been taken in for questioning and the truck stored for evidence.
There was no findings of an intentional act to circumvent department rules and regulations and/or department policies. However, their failure to take the appropriate action resulted in numerous violations of department rules and regulations and policies.
Kalb resigned. Brown will be suspended without pay for 50 days. 2 investigating officers were also disciplined. New at 10, President Trump is on his way to Vietnam for his second summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The hot topic, North Korea's nuclear program. Kevin Cork has the latest from Hanoi.
The result of the second summit will depend largely on what the North wants in exchange for ending its nuclear weapons program. President Trump leaves Washington bound for Hanoi, Vietnam, where he'll meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. He's hoping to build upon the progress from summit number 1 last summer. Critics blasted the lack of specifics in the denuclearization agreement signed by both sides in Singapore, but the president saw the meeting as a success, if only because it was a warming of icy relations.
And you know what it ended up being? A very good relationship. I like him a lot, and he likes me a lot. Nobody else would have done that.
Going into this second summit, the president appears to be lowering expectations for any kind of immediate payoff.
I think it's going to lead to something very good, and maybe not. I think ultimately it will, but maybe not. And I'm not pushing for speed.
We'll know soon enough what kind of demands the North Korean leader plans to make in exchange for dismantling its nuclear facilities. The head of the U.S. National Intelligence recently told Congress it's not something the North will so easily abandon.
Unlikely to completely give up its nuclear weapons and production capabilities because its leaders ultimately view nuclear weapons as critical to regime survival.
It is certainly possible that the North Korean leader will ask the U.S. to end sanctions or perhaps move troops away from South Korea, the latter of which the president has previously said is an absolute non-starter. Traveling with the president in Vietnam, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
Pope Francis is calling for an all-out battle against abusers in the Catholic Church. This follows an unprecedented summit that just wrapped up in Rome. Bishop Kevin Rhodes with the Fort Wayne South Bend Diocese is reacting tonight, and he says a policy in the U.S. since 2002 drastically reduced the number of abuse cases. He says, quote, "We now need to intensify the charter so it also mandates accountability for bishops, as well as a code of conduct for bishops. We must also make sure we never again fail victims and continue to help bind the wounds of these survivors." Well, it was a busy day for construction crews. They were cleaning up after yesterday's strong winds. Chapin Mansion in Niles started repairs 10 days ago, but the weekend winds put a pause to it. The Niles History Center director says there was no damage to the building. Construction crews say they anchored down the scaffolding, but 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts are tough to contend with.
They reinforced it as best they could, and it lasted really until late afternoon. Unfortunately, though, the wind direction changed and the speeds got a little bit higher, and it was just enough to topple it.
Crews hope to have the scaffolding rebuilt by the end of the week, but this setback likely won't delay the mansion from reopening. Concord High School's Performing Arts Center will get a $5 million upgrade. The Beichman Performing Arts Center was built 43 years ago. The district will add more space in the lobby, double the number of restrooms, and expand the entryway. The goal is to make the center more ADA compliant.
Right now, our patrons do not have the ability to easily access the site, nor do we have good seating or line of sight for them to be able to enjoy a show. We're going to be able to address those issues and make it so that all of our patrons, students, and staff can enjoy the new space.
Work will start in April and wrap up in November. You know, we will never forget the victims of 9/11, but what about the first responders? Yeah, thousands contracted rare forms of cancer due to the dust and other debris while saving others. Now a fund to pay for their treatment is running out. Coming up, the latest on a bipartisan plan to extend it.